Workflows are a core feature of TechExcel products, and they provide a standard process for governing your tickets. They are unique to every project. For example, typically we'll have a different workflow for incident management versus change management. Let's take a look at the out-of-box workflow designed specifically for Service Desk. We begin by sending new tickets to the triage status, where the team can determine the validity of the ticket and determine who to assign it to. When done, the team can start working on the ticket. When a ticket is resolved, we send it over to an open status, awaiting for user confirmation per IDLE standards, and then finally, close the ticket. There are also times when the service desk can't resolve the ticket without a change. Our workflow has been set up so that when a change is needed, this ticket creates and links to a new change request in the change management project. The statuses are synced so that when the change is completed, this parent ticket will move to the change complete status. The statuses we've set up is a primary filter to locate the tickets. To see the workflow in action, I will create a new ticket. Notice that by default, all tickets will move to the triage status per our workflow design, and the initial owner is our Level 1 Service Desk group. In the ticket details, the buttons you see up on the top are the transition lines that were drawn in the workflow. In the triage status, the ticket can only be moved to in progress or resolve notified, but never closed. We're going to go ahead and move it to the in progress status. Now that the ticket is moved to in progress, there are only two paths that it can traverse. We can either request for a change or resolve and notify. Request for change and resolve to notify. I'm going to add a new status called on hold by right-clicking for situations where the team needs more info. We can choose to change the color and the text style of this design. Next, I'm going to create a transition line between in progress to on hold. We'll also draw another line from on hold back to in progress. For those that are using SLAs, be sure to set the status as a pause state for SLAs. When finished, we just go ahead and reload our web settings for this change to take effect. Looking at our ticket details again, we now see a Need More Info transition button. Let's take a look at some of the granular controls that could be implemented within the workflow. Under Workflow Settings, we can define who can be owners of the ticket in any given status and who can change a ticket out of that status. For the triage status, let's make sure that only the Level 1 Service Desk group can own tickets and not Level 2. For the default owner, we're going to make sure that any new tickets always goes to our Level 1 Service Desk. We can also choose to use auto assignment instead. When we do so, the system will look at the conditions of the ticket and determine the proper owner. For the in progress status, we're going to make sure that these teams could potentially be owners of the ticket due to the different ticket types. We can also choose to set the default to be whoever the current owner is or overwrite that. This is how the owner dropdown looks like before our change and after the change, where only Level 1 Service Desk can be a potential owner of a ticket in triage. The Who Can Change option is really useful in situations where you want to restrict the teams from accidentally clicking on a transition or simply enforcing the workflow. A good example is when we only want our Level 2 Service Desk to be the only team to be able to submit a change. For users that are part of Level 1, the Change Request button disappears and reappears for those that are in Level 2. Earlier, I mentioned that a new change ticket will be created when we move a ticket to the change requested state. Here's how we do it. By clicking on the Automations tab and choosing the right transition, I've already set up a new rule where this action will be performed. In this case, a new ticket will be created inside Change Management. We can also define a condition based on the properties of the ticket in which this trigger will fire off. We can now click on the Request Change button to see the trigger in play. Our new change request is now linked to our existing service desk ticket. The remaining options for the workflow settings should be self-explanatory. We're able to support read-only fields, invisible fields, as well as mandatory fields for any given status.